My job is the senior interpreter here. So I'm responsible for coming up with all of the educational programming for the site. So my typical day changes a lot day to day. So depending on what the season is, will kind of dictate what I'm working on.
I'm the historian assistant at Frying Pan Farm Park. I help with collections as far as managing collections, preserving them, and taking care of them. Also, I organize docents for the Kidwell Farmhouse and have exhibits which we change throughout the year and help plan that and execute it. Frying Pan Farm Park is a great place for families and for people of all ages. So, of course, we have playgrounds, but of course, the main focus for kids is seeing the farm animals.
That's why we have our name of our park, Frying Pan, is from the Frying Pan branch.
It is 135 acres in Fairfax County, and it's actually located in Herndon, Virginia. And it is a 1930s era park, and it is a working park, which means the animals, the farm animals, are not pets.
Well, the farmhouse, the land was owned at one point by the Kirkpatrick family, and they built the farmhouse that we use now for tours. And then it was traded hands a couple times, and then the Kidwell family possessed it, and then they donated the land to us in 1965. And the park is really made up of 4 different parcels of land from other landowners that we've acquired throughout the years.
Had several schools on this property. The original park began with the purchase of what was then school property. So the Flores 4-room schoolhouse still exists and has a preschool in it. But the 4-story schoolhouse was built in 1920 and was taken down during the 1950s because it wasn't built to code. But so we've had several schools. The smaller schools started out as the main school, but then once the Flores Vocational High School was built, that became a big important part of this area because people would send their kids to learn more about agriculture, and the country store building was actually the vocational workshop, so they would learn hands-on learning there as far as being able to build or take care of tools. Built, we think, circa 1783. Some elders from local Baptist churches approached Robert Counselor Carter, and they asked if they could have 2 acres of land. And he, at that time, was a Baptist. This is back in 1783. He wrote a letter and agreed to give them 2 acres of land with a spring. And so that's when they either built the actual building or took parts of another building potentially. We don't know for sure, but the building was built sometime after 1783. And so that meeting house was attended once a month. We have meeting minutes that go back to 1791, going till 1955. So we have, a little piece of history written down about the lives of the people that attended the church, their meetings. But they also have members lists, which is nice because if you're interested in genealogy work, this is an option to search those as well. So it's an important part of the history of Fairfax County. It was, during the Civil War, there was a number of skirmishes around the meeting house. It was used as a way, they tried to trap Colonel Mosby and his men at the meeting house, and a number of different references were made to the meeting house. It was also a field hospital by General Stuart's men after the Battle of Ball's Bluff, or Drainsville, I should say. So, and we have 3 Confederate soldiers that were buried there in later years, but they were had served. So we have quite a bit of history connected to the Civil War, but also other times, periods.
And it's in the National Registry of Historic Places. It dates back to the time of George Washington, and there's actually a graveyard and a reproduced baptismal pond on the property.
That we have to offer that really sets us apart is sort of having this culture of food that goes along with being at a farm, and I like to highlight that. That's important to me.
Yeah, Frying Pan Farm Park is the place to go if you want to get out, have fresh air, just enjoy history, learning where your food comes from, just enjoying seeing the animals and being out and being able to walk in the woods and just be able to enjoy time with family or on your own. And it's just a nice, pleasant place. It's an oasis in the middle of suburbia that is a good destination point for most any time of the year.